This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov Gang. Tonight, Obama's wiretaps, the real story. With us this evening, Matthew Vadum. He is a frontpagemag.com columnist and an award-winning investigative journalist. Matthew Vadum, welcome to the Glazov Gang.
Well, thank you, Dr. Glazov.
Thank you, Matthew. You've written a blockbuster article on Obama's wiretaps at frontpagemag.com. We had to get you on here. The real story. Now, the details of a Watergate-style conspiracy against Trump are emerging, correct?
Yes, they are.
What's going on, Matthew?
Well, what we know, and new information comes out, it seems, almost hourly in the news cycle. There was a wiretapping of the Trump Tower during the presidential campaign in October. And apparently it was, the wiretapping was approved by the FISA court, the secret national security court. And it's why it was granted. The details are kind of murky, but the point is there was a wiretapping of some kind going on.
Matthew, let me interrupt for a second. For the sake of our viewers that aren't up to date on the story. So President Trump tweeted this recently. He came under a whole bunch of fire for tweeting it, but now it turns out that his tweet is rooted in a legitimate fact, correct?
Yes, and a lot of people say his tweets are nonsense, but he almost always manages to get it right.
Matthew, why did Comey urge the DOJ to reject Trump's claim?
The claim that the wiretapping took place, it was rejected by Comey because he didn't want, by FBI Director Comey, because he didn't want it to look like the FBI was engaged in unlawful activities. So Comey said that to protect the image of the FBI.
Okay, now Matthew, a lot of people that were like, oh, they thought that this is such a big deal, but you know, you've shown in your scholarship and your writing that Obama wiretapping people is not a really big deal at all. Give us a little bit of the history and background of Obama's wiretaps.
President Obama was wiretap happy. He used to spy on his friends and foes alike. He spied on James Rosen of Fox News. He obtained the phone records of 100 journalists, including many Associated Press reporters. He also spied on friendly United Nations officials and on the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel. So he spied on a lot of people, and this was simply the way that he did business. The way that he kept an eye on people. He also prosecuted a lot of, and these arguably wrongful prosecutions of so-called government whistleblowers in order to, who were telling the media about the terrible things that his administration was doing.
Okay.
So he was a real control freak.
Yeah, okay, so this isn't, something that's supposed to shock people. Now, we put on CNN, MSNBC, and how could Trump even say such a thing? But as has come out recently, tell us about this. Hillary Clinton's former campaign manager, Robbie Mook, has confirmed, he did it to Fox News, confirmed to Fox News, that he had knowledge of wiretaps being used during the campaign.
Yes, when Robbie Mook was asked about this on Fox News Channel, he confirmed. He said, of course, there were wiretaps at the Trump Tower. And why wouldn't there be? Because the real issue was, why was Donald Trump talking to so many Russians? So basically, that was his answer, flippant as it may be.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Now, Obama's team, or whoever, whatever you want to call them, they've denied. But as you also mentioned in your work, Andy McCarthy has written that the denial itself is disingenuous on several levels. Can you give us an example of where it's disingenuous?
The denial was that anyone in the White House had authorized spying on American citizens. And this is disingenuous, in Andrew McCarthy's words, because nobody in the White House would order such espionage or surveillance. This is the sort of thing that goes through other cabinet level agencies. For example, there's a federal law that says that the president just goes through his attorney general to do this kind of thing.
Oh, so
I don't even think he needed necessarily a warrant from the FISA court to do it, but for some reason a warrant was apparently obtained.
Matthew, former Obama speechwriter Rhodes went on Twitter and said no president can order a wiretap. In your article, you call this a lie, and it is a lie in terms of what you just said, right?
It is a distortion, yes. And it's a red herring. It's misdirection.
So, Matthew, what do you think's going on here?
What do I think's going on? I think that Obama is running what some people have been calling a shadow government. He is instituting a kind of coup d'etat, or prosecuting it against the Trump administration, and that he wants to drive Donald Trump out of office. And failing that, he wants to discredit him so badly that he can't get anything done. President Obama has rented a house, a mansion, owned by Clinton press secretary Joe Lockhart. It's like a $5 or $6 million walled mansion, because left-wingers love walls, except when they're around the country to keep illegal aliens out. And he is conducting this war against the Trump administration from there. And it was recently reported that Valerie Jarrett, his trusted enforcer, has moved into the mansion with him. She lived in the White House as well. So these are the two people that one writer said have a mind meld. Valerie Jarrett is Barack Obama's alter ego. He trusts her completely, and she's basically Barack Obama with different body parts.
Wow. Matthew, now this story branches out into so many crazy directions. Now we've got WikiLeaks, new revelations about CIA cyber tricks, and this is very much connected. Tell us how.
Now, WikiLeaks has been accused of being a front for Vladimir Putin's government in Moscow. And we don't know if that's true or not. But the truth is that WikiLeaks doesn't, or at least hasn't, lied. The documents that they publish are always, or at least seemingly always, authentic. The documents that were released in what they called the Vault 7 collection by WikiLeaks this week contained details of a secret CIA program or called Umbridge. Presumably it's software, but it's not. These details are kind of fuzzy right now. Umbridge can create the impression that a computer network hacking, has been done by someone other than the hacker. So, at least in theory, the CIA could have, for example, hacked the DNC and John Podesta and Hillary Clinton's campaign, and then made it look like the Russians did it. We don't know if that's what happened, but it is possible, according to recent news reports, that they could have done this through the Umbridge program.
Matthew, thank you so much. Really creepy, scary times. Thanks for giving us the real story behind Obama's wiretaps. Before we go, very briefly.
Scary deep state cabal.
Yes. Now, before we go, very briefly, please, is an award-winning investigative journalist, one of the leading top columnists at frontpagemag.com. In your opinion, after looking at all the evidence, who's the real authoritarian?
The real authoritarian is obviously former President Barack Hussein Obama. He is the one whose methods more closely resembled those used by fascist leaders. The left likes to say that Donald Trump is the fascist, but Donald Trump has been steadily reducing the scope and reach of the federal government, and he has not been doing the things that a fascist would typically do when in power. Donald Trump being president isn't so much, in my eyes, a big shift to the right, the political right for America. It is simply a return to normalcy. A normal person who actually likes or loves America is trying to do the right thing. Barack Obama was not like that at all. He hated America and wanted to do everything he could in his power to take it down a few notches, because it was, in his view, in the typical leftist view, a systematic oppressor of blacks and women and other minorities and transgendered people, and an awful imperialist power that needed to have its wings clipped to an extent.
Matthew Vadum, what an honor to have an award-winning investigative journalist on the Glazov Gang and front page Magdal columnist, but most importantly, a fellow Canadian.
Yes, absolutely, eh?
And take off.
I lost most of my accent over the years.
Well, we're going to eventually, you and I will meet at Tim Hortons and have a coffee, eh?
Yeah, we can do that, and we can talk about whatever you want.
Okay. Matthew Vadum, thanks for joining the Glazov Gang, and keep doing what you're doing in terms of telling the truth.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you for joining the Glazov Gang. If you like what we do, please remember we're a fan-generated program. We need your help at jamieglazov.com to continue telling the truth. The least you can do is be subscribed to the YouTube channel of the Glazov Gang. Good night.